Good evening everyone and welcome to Apex Esports League. I'm JT and tonight we're back for round 2 of the Vive Toyota GR86 Cup. We're coming to you from the beautiful Phillip Island circuit, a fast and flowing track that's sure to provide plenty of action tonight. This week's session features a 10-minute practice, 10-minute qualifying and a 40-minute race. With the afternoon conditions, drivers will need to stay sharp and manage their tyres carefully to succeed. And with the fuel cap at 30%, will likely force at least one pit stop to be able to finish out the race. We did see some strategy being mixed up last week, so will we see the same tonight at Phillip Island? Looking at the standings, Caleb Dawson leads the series after an incredible drive to victory in the opening round last week. Will we see Caleb extend his lead, or will one of his rivals rise to the challenge? Last week's race at Brands Hatch gave us plenty of drama, with Jacob Trainer finishing in P2 and Mick Clifton in P3 behind Caleb's win. The battle for the championship is starting to heat up. And a quick reminder about the fantastic prizes on offer this series, including the Vive Cosmos Elite for the series champion and the Vive Cosmos for the series lucky draw prize. Some fantastic prizes up for grabs. Now let's take a look at tonight's venue for Phillip Island Circuit. With its scenic views and challenging layout here, it's a favourite among drivers and fans alike. And if you're joining us for the stream, jump in the chat, say hello, hit the follow button if you haven't done so already. Let us know who you're here to cheer on. We do have friends and family jump on to support all our drivers. It's great to see. We got about 3.5 minutes left to the practice. Arnold's 47.48 being the quickest time out there so far. I'd run out there for Nicholas Martin. Series leader puts in a 46, almost flat. Had some intense lead last week early on in the race. Ben Faulkner and Joshua Houghton. Oh, no, sorry, I think it is Joshua. Sorry if I did get that wrong. You do see some strategy as well, trying to pull off no stops last week. Interesting if that can come tonight. He's only getting tangled in a couple of incidents. End up messing up those fuel strategies. So it is definitely doable. Ryan Bunt comes up 4 tenths away from Dawson's time. Let's see if we can find any new debut drivers joining us tonight. It's like Tony Baker's in a recent join, so welcome aboard, Tony. Well, best of luck in your debut race. Had a few debut drivers last week as well. It's good to see some new names coming into the league. For anyone that wants to get involved in our sessions, we are a free league, so no costs involved for you. And all skills are always welcome to the league. That's whoever turns up and races. So no registrations, no commitments. Just come race and have fun and have a shot at getting some fantastic prizes as well. Thanks to Vive for the fantastic VR headset sets up for grabs for 2 lucky winners of our series. Practice nearly done now. And I'll have 10 minutes of qualifying. They do earn championship points for qualifying as well. It's a very crucial, not only just getting them to start on the grid, but to grab those extra points. And moving over into the qualifying. And cars scrambling out onto the track. Whoa. Losing the rear there for Rushworth. I'll jump on board for a hot lap around Phillip Island. Is a fantastic circuit. It's like Cam Hardwick's leading the charge for the qualifying laps. We'll jump on board for a lap around Phillip Island, courtesy of Cam. Seems like a very long pit straight in these 86s. And caught off with some understeer. He's very much double apex left-hander in here. The marbles that have been left on the track from the practice session. Down into the hairpin. And I actually ran the 86 around Phillip Island. These things are a lot of fun to throw around and would be a lot of fun at Phillip Island, one of my favourite tracks. Watching Apex it's up the crest, down the hill and into the sharp right-hander. A lot of inside curb. A bit of oversteer going on. This corner perfect, especially in a lower powered car like the 86 will cost you big time by getting that perfect run onto the straight. Should be a valid time there for Hardwick. That time was 147.77 by Cam Hardwick, putting into P7. Ben Faulkner takes pole position on the first timed laps, 145.4. Joshua Horton is under 2 tenths away from that time. First timed laps, putting 15.5 second gap. About 19 drivers in the session at the moment. Andrew O'Leary and Nicholas Martin to get a time on the board. Dean, are they getting out on track to try and give some space? We've got a couple of pairs of times going down through those first times. See some good little battles pair up like we did last week. Fortunate to see tonight's round with just how exciting it was last week. It went all the way right to even the end results. With some post-race penalties on that last battle. The final lap was fantastic. I'm looking forward to a potential exciting race tonight. Unlucky for Hardwick. Andrew O'Leary gets a time on the board. Leaving Nicholas Martin to set a time. Unlucky for Kokoli. Riding that rail and then found the tyre wall. Well, some very tight times up the front here. Fantastic looking Australia Day themed livery there from Dan. Being the Australia Day public holiday today. It's 2 minutes 20 remaining. Rushworth, so he's parking up the car. Two minutes left. There's not going to be much chance to get a timed lap in. Maybe lucky and get a full one if they can cross the line at the right time. Let's go. Was that one? Was that Dawson? Phillip Dawson was off. No damage. Enough time to be able to get the car around the line and have one more lap to count. You in the pits. Just pushing that 86 hard, riding that same curb that caught Piccoli off before. Clifton's got a green sector going on as well, so on a good one at the moment. Just wrapping up laps, a couple of seconds over. And if they've been out for a few laps, they're pushing those cars, there might be a little bit of tyre fade if they're really pushing out there. There could be some dramas with marbling as well. I've seen a few cars off and then back on. Walker and Horton following in tow, helping those qualifying times. For Dawson, so that will be qualifying done for Dawson. I haven't really seen much improvement for times here. It's now or never to try and pip a spot. Heath really throwing that car down the hill. Oh, a little too much oversteer. See Joshua Horton with a pink sector in there. Running in a PB. He's practicing that very important pit entry. And it's a very long one and very narrow track as well. You don't want to go dropping a tyre off. And some fun in the car. Pace qualifying there. And we can take a look at the qualifying results. There we are. Not sure what it was just doing there. It's going to bring it back. There we have qualifying for the round 2 of the Vive Toyota GR86 Cup at Phillip Island Circuit. Ben Faulkner takes pole position. And then the grid then is set with Joshua Horton, Caleb Dawson, Dan Bartosh, Ryan Bunt, Andrew Rushworth, Tony Baker, Kurt Heath, Mick Clifton, Matthew Fu, Jeff Arnold, Andrew O'Leary, Cam Hardwick, Nicholas Martin, Phil Buckland, David Simmons, Seth Herman, and Brad Hayes. And in P19, Stephanie Piccoli. A few drivers waiting to grid up. That'll be 19 to grid. Waiting on 7 drivers to grid up. Drivers of grid.
Green flag, green flag.
And green flag. Bit of a delayed getaway. And Faulkner bogged down a little bit. Horton did well to be able to push up. And clean getaway for the grid. Almost some bump draft going on. You can't fit much between those cars. Definitely got to be contact 0 going on. Just found some good track position there to be able to slip in between Horton and Dawson. And drawing a double slipstream tuck to the inside. Not to be able to sneak through just yet at the hairpin. Still a clean start, no contact showing. Very tight train all the way through. Also, Brad Hayes, 11 seconds back. Look at it. Swerving there from Baker. I think that may be looking to try and line up for a spot to run past Dawson. Type aside, Herman and Buckland. Buckland to the outside. It's going to set up nicely. Section and steer for Herman, unlucky. Hardwick and Heath side by side down into the hairpin. A little bit unsettled under braking there for Heath. Managed to be able to pull it up to make the corner. Two by two here was Buckland and Vigoli, Arnold and O'Leary. Spectacular opening lap. Super clean, no car contact. So that same line again, Baker seems to be able to be getting a fantastic run down into that right-hander after the hill. Dawson gets pretty good drive through the rest of that sector. Just look at this slipstream here. Bit miss. Trying to catch out this bump draft, just seeing how close they're sitting. On the view, they're nailing this. There's been an off for Heath. Not sure if there's any damage. Watch, there's not too many jumps there in that infield. Very wide line there for Faulkner. Clifton hunting down Andrew Rushworth. Leave for P6. Ryan Bunt so closing up on tail of Clifton. And Dan Bartish looks to have a spot taken by Dawson. Hey, telling me he thinks to jump in the stream? It's not too late to sign up for the season if you want to get involved in the racing. Still be 8 more rounds. Good little door-to-door battle here between Bartish and Dawson. Oh, nearly touched. Super tight, super respectful. Horton and Faulkner still holding it very tight. Trying to work together here. To be a good game of teamwork, trying to help with the fuel conserve that we saw last week. Definitely would have been race winner strategy. Just a little bit of a tangle. Burnt up the rest of that fuel, and it definitely could have happened. Interesting to see what's going to come of this. What sort of strategy they're going to try and do for the stop with that similar play here. Martin starting to breathe down Fur's neck. Tight. Pretty good slipstream here. Try and use a bit of a bump draft. I think got too tangled up in the rear bumper to be able to swing out and have a move. Really trying to work with each other here to try and potentially gain some ground. I see some little friendly pairings around the place to help each other up. The fastest lap of the race has just been set as well, 45.82 on that lap by Caleb Dawson. Very nice time. This has really been the cleanest race start that I've actually witnessed at this point. Not picking up any contact for any cars. Had some off tracks. We've had a lot of door-to-door laps as well. Put on a fantastic show for us last week, and they're going to be doing it again. We're going to see some tight battles. We're going to see things get really mixed up as all the different pit strategies come into play. We don't set mandatory pit stops for the league. We just cap the fuel to try and force a stop. But if it's close to be able to doing it, and if enough conserving, you can do it. And by all means, the drivers can try and go for no stop. Horton showing us last week that it can definitely be done. It's very close. We may see a few different strategies being at play here to try and extend that out. Martin still tucking in. This time tucked in behind Hardwick. Off earlier for Heath, been quite costly, having lost 11 spots. as we haven't had a whole lot of big movement. It's been pretty consistent train. We got Arnold and Fu having a battle here behind Simmons. Simmons currently up 5 positions, most positions gained in the race. Then have Martin and Hardwick up 4 spots. Oh, there's some contact. Buckland. I don't know if Hayes is involved as well. Maybe. Settled in front of the car. I think there's any touch there. Not sure if Hayes may have been thinking it was. I was just trying to avoid some potential tangle. The bits must have some damage. Ben Faulkner still maintains the lead on lap 7, quarter of the way through the race. Oh, here we go, there's a move here. Dan Bartett. Not quite enough. And there was an opening, and definitely went for it. Definitely distracted Horton. That tight gap between Faulkner and Horton has now been broken. Oh, we're going to go 3 wide down through turn 1. Makes it 2. Dawson gets the run. 2 are just going to have to be cautious not to battle too much. They're too focused on each other here. They're going to see Horton and Faulkner pull away. Dawson with the race win last week in a good spot to try and put in a decent lead for the championship. May not necessarily mean a race win, just trying to stay as close to the top of the podium as possible. Means no tangles and being thrown to the back of the field. Off for Arnold. Off for Simmons as well. There was a bit of marbling around that area as well. As the race leaders went through, there was a fair bit scattered off the outside line. Clifton down into P15. Having come in and pit lap 7. 5-second box time. 33.5-second total journey down pit lane. Start of the race, putting it on pole. Simmons journeying out. Arnold's on the way out, and Herman. battle between Bunt and Rushworth. Pulls away. Rushworth comes into the pits. Horton and Faulkner both in. That sees Dan Bartis in the lead. Phillip Dawson P2, Tony Baker P3. It's door to door between Dawson and Baker. Oh, nearly rubbed there. Joshua Horton comes out ahead of Faulkner. No strategy to try and do it with no stop. And coming out in P7 and 8. 25 seconds behind the lead. Bartis comes in. Baker takes race lead. Dawson also in. Baker's got a lot of free track out there. Clean air. Good opportunity to try and push out some good times here. Follow it up with a fantastic pit stop. May be able to go a little bit of a position jump here. Situation for Ryan Bunch as well. But Wick and Martin still in tow here. Trying to approach to the halfway point now. Almost 19 minutes. Similar gaps after the pit stops. Slightly longer pit stops for Dawson and Bartis compared to Horton and Faulkner. 36 seconds total times for Bartis, 34 seconds for Dawson. Very quick stop with Horton, 34 seconds. Quickest stops out there is Mick Clifton with 33.5. His box time as well, 5 seconds flat. That was an early stop. I mean, a whole lot more fuel to put in. It's going to be probably pretty tight for him. Interesting to see how it goes. Lead change again. Hardwick up front. Martin in P2. Bunt in. So our drivers already getting the pit stops underway. Closing in quicker now. On that tail again. Swapped around this time. It was Faulkner out front before. How much more fuel they're going to be able to push out of these cars. Stay out for another lap. A few others that haven't come in yet either. Andrew Leary, Kurt Heath, and Phil Buckland. Leary's coming into the pits now. And off for Buckland. Steady gap. Really pushing the lineup around. It's holding that fuel. Trying to stay nice and steady and conserving behind. Current laps. Previous laps pretty much less than a 10th difference between the two. He wants to get around, but he wants to just stay and save that fuel. Work together. They're going for the bump draft. They were very close using that nose. Definitely working together here. And some good laps out there, but some very quick laps by Faulkner and Horton behind. Dawson and Barshas also pushing low 47s, and it was low 46s from Faulkner and Horton. Just see where our pair here, if Hardwick and Martin, are going to end up. Don't think they're going to be trying to go for no stops. I think it's going to be too plausible around Phillip Island. It does take a lot more fuel to a lap. Currently 12 spots each for Hardwick and Martin, being our race leaders. Bowman and O'Leary side by side. O'Leary's going to be able to hold that inside. That's what we're going to do for lineup. Not enough to be able to position in yet. Bit of aero wash for Martin. Faulkner and Horton closing in fast now. Anyway, battle continuing here between Dawson, Bartish and Baker. Pit stops. Mix things up for a little bit, but the three have returned. Bit of rear slip. Power down for Rushworth. Where with Clifton starting to look to pester mirrors. Stay out for more laps. They're running for a good while. Oh, and is that a disconnect? Joshua Horton just vanished out of it. Just saw him as a lapped car. Blinking in and out still, so he's not entirely out of the server. May just be a big blink. Yeah, the car's still there. Big blinks for Horton. Phenomenal, vanishing a good portion of that lap. Big blinks like that's going to be interesting coming up to traffic. Never appeared here. Got Faulkner right on the tail. A big blink for Horton again in the background. Oh, that slips into P2. Data says Horton in P4, P3. Long side. Oh yeah, don't even know if Martin even saw that pass. Hardwick, Martin into the pits. Faulkner takes back race lead, followed by Horton in P2. Bartish moves up P3, Dawson P4, Baker P5. Hardwick's released, as is Martin. So let's see him come out around mid-pack. And no lapped cars as yet. First lap traffic is 23 seconds ahead. It's been a super tidy race. This is great. Had some disasters of races in the history of Phillip Island. See some pretty big spills with the very fast and tricky corners of Phillip Island. It's great to see 5 laps in the opening, no touch, plenty of door-to-door. They've continued that pretty well through into lap 17. 5 cars reporting any contact. It's only just one each from the looks of it. Doesn't mean they're tangled with themselves either. No toes by the look of it, which is fantastic. Nice little slipstream going on between Baker and Dawson. A little bit of a bump draft. And What was going on? I lost a bit of control. Hit a button. The wipers were going. Car was unsettled. And Clifton gets the job done before turn 1. He should hold up on that sort of curb. A few cars being caught up in that grind rail. An error opens the door for Rushworth. Takes back P7. They're going to go side by side down into the hairpin. Clifton have the advantage coming down into the inside. Very nicely done. Pass done in the hairpin. No, not quite. Great little battle between these two. They are having a lot of fun here. Just past Jeff Arnold from P13. A lot of understeer for Dawson's going to open the door for Baker. Going to be holding Baker there. Oh, a little rub coming down in the turn in. Cars buckled down under braking. Bit of a rub. Beautiful battle going on between Dawson and Baker. Almost at 34 minutes of 40. 19 laps done at the island. And off the heath. To come to the pressure, Arnold moves through to P13. Nick Clifton and Andrew Rushworth still at it. Oh, he takes some dirt. Push some big speed at the top of the hill. Bit of drop back from Clifton taking the dirt. That traffic behind as well. It's Phil Buckland sitting in the slipstream of Clifton. Speed made up of Clifton there. Won't be enough to be able to go for a turn 1 pass. See the tyres taking up that gravel. For a move here, no, on the hairpin. Faulkner in the lead, followed by Joshua Horton. gap being reeled in between Baker and Dawson again. It's amazing just how much ground these cars can cover once they're in that slipstream. Up 204 kilometres before letting off then. Oh, dives down off the curb. Suspension unsettled that car. What a slog. Deja vu between the two here again. So close. Barely fit the car down between the two in the braking into the hairpin. Brilliant driving. Fantastic battles here. So many moves being go for one of probably the trickiest corners of Phillip Island. One of the highest incidence corners that we've ever seen in the league. A little bit of lock in the braking there with the marbling. Ethan Simmons are going to be door-to-door down into the hairpin as well. Simmons holds. Manages to keep Heath at bay. Lines here. Just going to have a fair bit of run on speed here. Oh, just tucked in. Snuck the tail in front of the nose. And Arnold's going to try and go here as well. Another great battle as well. P12 between Simmons and Heath. Still continuing. And lead change. Getting around Bang and Faulkner. The pass. Moves into P1. Bring on white flag. Final lap. Another lead change between Faulkner and Horton. See, no dramas or fuel issues for the two. Series leader Caleb Dawson, currently P4. In too strong of a position to try and go for an extra spot here on the final lap. Oh, side by side, swap the lead again, Faulkner and Horton. Oh, sneaks in, nearly caught. Horton off guard as well. He almost started turning and noticed the car dive. This sneaky lead change right at the finish. Checkered flag comes out. Race win for Ben Faulkner. P2, Joshua Horton. Dan Bartis, P3. And Caleb Dawson, P4. Tony Baker, P5. Ryan Bunt bringing up P6. Andrew Rushworth, P7. Cam Hardwick, P8. Clifton falling back from the battle earlier, down to P9. There's Martin, P10. Only 2 drivers being lapped in the race. That's fantastic. Matthew Fu, P11. Like a little error correction there for Simmons. Andrew O'Leary going for a move. Takes the spot. Phillip able to hold. Not enough room for Simmons to go, but very close. Keith P12, Arnold P13, Simmons P14, Andrew O'Leary P15. Seth Herman bring it home P16. Brad Hayes on the way. Flash of the lights. P17. Cole is already finished up. And then we have a race done and dusted. So we'll take a look at those race results. And race results for round 2 of the Vive Toyota GR86 Cup at Phillip Island Circuit. Our race winner is Ben Faulkner. And then also on the podium in P2, Joshua Horton, and P3, Dan Bartis. There's no confusing changes on the standings right at the finish line with post-race penalties for this one. So should be who we see at this point. So congratulations to our podium drivers. And then the rest of our standings, we then have Caleb Dawson, Tony Baker, Ryan Bunt, Andrew Rushworth, Cam Hardwick, Mick Clifton, Nicholas Martin, Matthew Fu, Kurt Heath, Jeff Arnold, David Simmons, Andrew O'Leary, Seth Herman, Brad Hayes, Stephanie Piccoli, and P19, Phil Buckland. Drivers across for a chat, so we'll bring them over now. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, JT.
Looked like a pretty good race out there.
Yeah, it was a hard one. The tow kept everybody in the fight, so it got sort of a little bit scary as to who would come out after the pit lane, but yeah, the strategy prevailed on that one.
Yeah, it's a bit of bad luck strategy last week. So when I saw you diving quite early on in it, I was like, I'm not going to go try and stretch it out too much like last week.
Yeah, that one was a shocker. I thought I could make it. And
you would have done it if I don't think you got tangled. It probably would have been the fuel getting back on track. So it definitely is possible probably in the series. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone can pull it off, I suppose, within it. But I didn't think it'd probably be done with Phillip Island.
No, you're lifting and coasting too much around here to even think about it. I'll be honest, we thought about it, but we shut the idea down when we saw the fuel number.
Yeah, with the bump draft working a lot for you, you were into it pretty good along that pit straight and even good throughout most of the track as well. And you weren't the only ones out there that were managing to do it.
How did it feel getting bumped, Benny?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad. The cars handle bump drafting pretty good. And yeah, if you coordinate it, it's pretty quick. And once we managed to get out the tow from Dan and the other boys, it was it was a lot easier to get away.
That's good. It worked out quite well and pretty tight in the long run, though. It was a bit of a gap once all those pits sort of started going in. But he's sort of rounded all that back down towards the end, and the two of you having a lot of fun that last lap as well.
Yeah, we had a big battle towards the end.
Mate, he's bombed me from bloody nowhere.
Yeah, caught it that right-hander after the hill. You were starting to turn in and all of a sudden had to shoot the other way.
Yeah.
Could have been bad for both of you on the last few corners.
Yeah, we pulled it there. I managed to see him, thankfully.
Yeah, did well.
I did shout on the call, but I'm in.
Yeah, it definitely helps. And you're doing well there, Dan. You're having some great battles with Caleb for a good portion of the race and trying to work together and try and chase these two down for a while as well.
Yeah, it was good, mate. But yeah, once you lose that draft around there, you're shot because I knew that the Benny and Josh weren't going to slow down up the front. So while you're in the draft, you're all right. But yeah, anyway, then it was a battle for third, and yeah, had a good run with Caleb and Tony. So yeah, good. Love Phillip Island. Great track.
Yeah, it is a fantastic one. And was there too much tyre fade out there on the track with the conditions, or did it hold out all right?
It was getting a little bit slippery offline towards the end of the race, but I mean, I reckon it's great. I love that. It adds another element, and yeah, so you've got to be a bit more careful.
Yeah, and then it looked like there was some pretty good pace out there from everyone as well, because he's only came across 2 cars for lap traffic. So he's basically just had open track throughout the race. That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone came off all night, did they?
No, first 5 laps, 0 contact. So it was usually were 2x2, 3x3, a few spots, and I think the hairpin had a fair few door-to-doors, and it was great.
Yeah, I know I had a couple of incidents there with Caleb and alongside with Josh there as well. I mean, you got respectful races. It's good. So everyone gives each other enough room to play around with and live on to fight another day.
That's it. Grab some good results and have some fun going door to door is what it's all about.
Yeah, just still trying to catch up these Vermilion boys, mate. They're rapid.
Too much speed there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get a shorter tow rope, I think.
Yeah,
you're doing pretty well tonight, Dan.
Yeah, we're getting there, mate. We're getting there. As I say, that I love Phillip Island, so yeah, done plenty of laps around there. So I was always pretty confident I'd at least be able to stick with yous for a little while tonight. But as I say, once you break that toe, it's good night until the guy at the front makes a mistake, and you boys don't do that. So
we try not to. Sometimes it happens.
well, you know, yeah, you're pretty good most of the time. So I was, as I say, once the pit stops cycle went and I seen where you were just that little bit up in front, I knew it was a battle for third from then on. So yeah, it's just and Tony helped me out a bit by battling with Caleb. So big shout out to Tony for getting Caleb out of my draft as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's going to be another good one for you to do it around next week too, because it'll be Rudskogan, so another fast, sort of good flowing but technical track like Phillip Island as well, but a little bit more unforgiving in a few runoff areas with nearby walls, but
yeah, it's a cool track, Rudskogan, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Should be good, and might be able to see us back here for the podium again next week.
Hope so.
Hopefully.
That's the plan.
That's it. And
we'll just see if we can swap the positions around, that's all.
Yeah, mix it up.
Yeah, for sure. Good to see you didn't jump the start too tonight, Ben.
Yeah. Oh, lockdown was so bad.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
I was happy I got up to the front, and then I got a speed in pit entry violation as well last round. So
it's funny because when I watched the broadcast back, and JT said, "Oh, Faulkner's got a lightning start." I'm like, "Yeah, that's because he left 5 seconds before everyone else."
And I did actually forget about that. I noticed you were quite bogged down at the start, so you're much more cautious. That makes sense. Yeah, no chance of it this week.
No, definitely
No.
not.
Or any week for
I was-
that matter, I'll
Yeah.
be bloody pissed.
I was telling Josh, oh, break a little bit early into the pits this time, mate. I don't want to get another speed in the pit lane.
Definitely not. Well,
But he still caught me off guard.
Yeah.
well, congratulations on your results tonight, guys, and all the best of luck for round 3 at Muskogan. And I'll remember to hand over shout-outs tonight, so I forgot everyone last week. So over to you, Ben. Mic's all yours.
Yep. So obviously all the boys of Million Motorsports, Race Lab Overlays, Verb Designs, Supernova Motorsports, Moser Racing, Homo Setups, Vermilion X Coaching, and Nathan 96 Designs for our awesome liveries. And you boys also for a great league.
Awesome. Cheers, Ben. And is that a ditto for you then, Josh?
Yeah, basically the exact same. I'll probably give an extra shout out to Benny for pulling me along and allow me to come along with him in this championship. Should be a fun one.
Oh, and happy birthday to my dad as well.
Shout out
Nice. Happy
Neil.
birthday.
Fire up, Neil fans.
It'll be watching along.
And over to you, Dan.
Yeah, it's just a big shout out to ETS Motorsport, and Eastern Tour Services, and Big Matt's Computer Services, and of course my old man who tunes in every race I do. So he's always watching and urging me on and sticking it up me. So I'm sure he'll ring me tomorrow and tell me what I should have done better. But
Love that.
it's all good. And thanks JT. It's good to be back on the Apex channel. It's been
Yeah,
a
good
while
to see
since
you back.
I've been in. So yeah, no, it's good. Some good racing out there.
Yeah, it has been. Looking forward to the next 8 weeks of it. It's been pretty
Yeah.
exciting just for the first 2, so
Yep.
Gonna be looking forward to seeing us battling it out there every week. So thanks, guys.
No worries.
Look forward
Thanks,
to seeing
boys.
us do it again next week.
All right, see you next week, boys.
Catch us.
Catch you next week.
And there we have our podium finishes, and that concludes round 2 of the Vive Toyota GR86 Cup. And a big congratulations to Ben Faulkner for claiming the victory tonight and joining them on the podium. Joshua Horton in 2nd and Dan Bartosh in 3rd after an action-packed race tonight from start to finish. And then looking ahead, round 3 takes us to Rudskogan Motor Centre. With its fast and technical layout, drivers will need to bring their A game for this one, and it's going to be promising to be another spectacular race to see. So don't want to be missing that one. You can join us live next week at 8:05 p.m. AEDT for all the action. If you haven't done so already, hit follow to be notified when we go live. You can also catch our full race broadcast on our YouTube channel and keep up to date with standings on our social media pages. And a special thanks to our sponsors and partners: Pagny Advanced Simulation, Next Level Racing, Vive, Fanatec, Stubby, Razor, Stump Grinding Central Coast, and Chubby Buns Burgers. And thanks again for tuning in tonight, and we look forward to seeing you trackside next time. Goodbye for now.